Imagine this: you wake up one day and realize you've been living 10 seconds ahead of your life. Always reaching, always planning, always chasing a future that never seems to arrive. And then, in a moment of silence, maybe while scrolling your phone or brushing your teeth, something hits you like a thunderclap. You've never really lived today. You've been surviving every now in service of a someday. But what if that someday never comes? What if you've been mortgaging your soul to a future that doesn't exist?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
This is not some abstract idea. This is a trap that millions of us are caught in right now. And the scariest part, most of us don't even know it's happening. Because from the outside, we're doing everything right, working hard, setting goals, building a future. But inside, something feels off. Like we're always missing something, like fulfillment is hiding just one achievement away. This is the silent epidemic of our time. We are wasting our lives chasing tomorrow. And the first shocking sign is this: you always feel behind, no matter how much you do. You could finish every task, cross off every goal, and still go to bed with that gnawing voice whispering, you didn't do enough. That's because your inner clock is out of sync with reality. You're running a race that has no finish line. The philosopher Alan Watts said, "No valid plans for the future can be made by those who have no capacity for living now." But we've built our entire culture on the opposite. We've been taught that the present is just a stepping stone to something better. So we rush through it like it doesn't matter, and then wonder why we feel so hollow. Let's go deeper. Think about this. When was the last time you felt completely satisfied in a moment without needing it to lead to something else? Really think about it. When was the last time you weren't multitasking your life away, treating now like a preview of some better scene that you hope is coming soon? That's the second sign you don't know how to be still. Like really still. Not scrolling, not planning, not optimizing, just being. And if that scares you, that's your signal. Because stillness isn't empty. It's where the truth lives. Why do we run from stillness? Because in silence, all the noise we've been ignoring rises to the surface. The doubts, the fears, the deep questions we've buried under productivity. But those questions are the keys to everything. Questions like, why am I really doing what I'm doing? What am I afraid of if I stop chasing? What part of me am I trying to outrun? If you can sit with those questions, not answer them, but really sit with them, you might uncover a truth that breaks your entire life open. The third sign is even more subtle. You confuse movement with meaning. You stay busy. You say yes. You fill your calendar. You convince yourself that action equals purpose. But does it? Or are you using activity to distract from the fact that you haven't felt truly alive in weeks, maybe months? Blaise Pascal once said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." And if you've ever felt anxious the moment things get quiet, you know exactly what he meant. We are terrified of our own presence. Because deep down, we're afraid there's nothing there. But here's the paradox. The only way to feel fulfilled is to stop chasing and start listening. To stop proving and start being. Fulfillment isn't a product of achievement. It's a result of alignment. And you can't align with the truth of your life if you're always 5 steps ahead of it. So ask yourself, what are you running toward that you think will finally make you enough? And what if it never does? What if the entire system is rigged to keep you chasing? The fourth sign is this: you've built a life you don't even experience. You've worked for the house, the relationship, the reputation. But you're not in it. You're managing it, planning around it, worrying about it, but not feeling it. It's like you're watching your life through a glass wall close enough to see it, but too distracted to enter it. And this is where regret is born, not from failure, but from absence. From realizing too late that you were never really there. And here's the most shocking part. You might be succeeding at the wrong thing. You might be climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. Because you've been chasing what you were told to want: security, status, speed, without asking if it's true for you. And if you've never paused long enough to question your path, then how do you know it's yours? That's the fifth sign you've never stopped to ask. Whose life am I really living? This is the crisis we don't talk about. Not burnout, not failure, but disconnection from self, from presence, from purpose. We're not tired because we're doing too much. We're tired because we're doing too little of what actually matters. And that exhaustion is a message. It's your soul begging you to stop running and wake up. Because chasing tomorrow will never fulfill you. It will only keep you one step away from your life. So what do? We stop. Not forever. Just long enough to see clearly. We sit with ourselves. We unplug. We breathe. We write down the hard questions. We listen for answers that don't come from fear. And we begin, slowly, to re-enter our own lives, to taste our food, to feel the sun, to listen when someone speaks, not to respond, but to connect. We practice being here, over and over, until here becomes enough. And here's the twist: everything you're chasing tomorrow for already exists in some form today. Peace, joy, meaning, love. But you have to slow down long enough to see it, to feel it, to receive it. Otherwise, you'll keep running forever. And one day you'll look back and realize the tragedy wasn't that you failed. It's that you were never really alive. So right now, wherever you are, pause. Take one breath that isn't rushed. Feel it fill your chest. Let it go. That's it. You've just touched the present. And if you can do that once, you can do it again and again, until your whole life becomes a string of awakened moments. That's not just mindfulness, that's freedom. You're still here, which means something inside you knows this isn't just a video. It's a mirror. And maybe, just maybe, you're ready to look into it without turning away. Because chasing tomorrow isn't just a habit. It's a way of being. One that's been drilled into us by culture, by fear, by the illusion that life is something we earn instead of something we live. But it's a lie. And the only way out is through deep, sometimes uncomfortable truth. Let's go right to the edge now. Here's a truth most people never question. The future doesn't exist. It's an idea, a projection, a mental movie you're directing in your head. And yet, we live for it. We sacrifice sleep, presence, laughter, connection, all for an image of a life we hope to experience someday. But if that someday never comes, what are we left with? Just a trail of yesterdays we were too busy to feel. That's the real cost of chasing tomorrow you abandon today. The philosopher Seneca warned us about this over 2,000 years ago. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And we waste it not by doing nothing, but by doing everything except being alive." That's what makes this trap so dangerous. It looks productive. It looks responsible. But underneath it, we're sleepwalking. We've been trained to plan our lives away, to schedule our souls into submission, to trade now for later, again and again, until we forget what now even feels like. Let's talk about the next layer of this. Because the deeper symptom is this: you measure your life in potential, not presence. You tell yourself, "I'll feel peace when I hit this goal. I'll feel worthy when I prove this. I'll rest when I've earned it." But here's the hard truth: there is no finish line. There is no permission slip coming. And if you're not careful, your entire life will become a waiting room for a moment that never arrives. Fulfillment isn't something you schedule. It's something you claim right now, in the middle of the mess, the noise, the chaos. And yet, it's terrifying, isn't it? For it to stop, to be here, to actually feel what's underneath the constant doing. Because stillness reveals everything: the fear, the loneliness, the ache of having lived so long without truly being. But what if that ache isn't a problem? What if it's the beginning? What if the pain you feel when you slow down is actually your soul saying, "Thank you. I've been waiting for you"? Buddha once said, "The trouble is, you think you have time, but you don't, not in the way you assume." Every moment spent waiting for life to begin is a moment life is beginning, and you're missing it. And if you're honest, how many parts of your life are you putting off? How many conversations? How many acts of courage? How many ordinary moments you dismiss because they're not big enough to matter? We live as if we'll get a second version of this life to do it right. We won't. And that realization should not make you panic, it should make you present. Because here's the twist: everything you think you're chasing in the future is a feeling you can access now. Peace? It's in your breath. Joy? It's in your senses. Meaning? It's in your attention. But you have to stop to notice it. You have to stop running long enough to receive what's already here. Let's give this some shape. If you want to know whether you're living in tomorrow, answer this honestly: are you constantly sacrificing today for a better version of it later? Are you stuck in the mindset of as soon as I get the job, as soon as I lose the weight, as soon as I fix this relationship? But here's the eternal Zen punchline: there is no as soon as. There's only now. And if you don't find peace in this now, you won't find it in the next one either. So what's the alternative? What does it look like to live fully awake? It's not about quitting your job or moving to a cabin in the woods. It's about shifting your relationship with time. It's about realizing that your life doesn't begin when things are perfect. It begins when you participate in it fully, not later, not when it's convenient, now, even when it's messy, especially when it's messy, because that's where the real stuff is. Let's go deeper into something most people ignore. Your attention is your life. Wherever your attention goes, your life is. And if your attention is always in the future, then you are never really here. You're a ghost in your own story. You're watching your life happen instead of living it. But the moment you reclaim your attention, the moment you sit still and breathe and feel what's actually happening, you start to re-enter your body. And when you're in your body, you're in reality. That's the beginning of freedom. Not from circumstances, but from illusion. The illusion that fulfillment is out there somewhere. The illusion that you are not enough until you become something more. You were never meant to chase life. You were meant to inhabit it. And that means slowing down. That means saying no to things that steal your presence. That means choosing depth over speed. Choosing meaning over momentum. Choosing now over next. But here's the resistance that will come up. If I stop chasing, won't I fall behind? Behind what? Who are you racing? What are you measuring against? Most of our suffering comes from comparing ourselves to someone else's highlight reel. But life isn't a competition. It's a connection. To yourself, to others, to this moment. And if you miss that, you miss everything. Let's make this real. Take 1 full hour this week and unplug. No phone, no agenda, just you and reality. Go for a walk. Sit in a park. Be still and watch what comes up. Watch the discomfort. Watch the urges. Watch the panic that says, I should be doing something. That's the part of you addicted to chasing. Don't judge it, just notice it, and then breathe anyway. Stay anyway. Be anyway. Because here's the thing, you don't need more time, but you need more presence. You need to stop outsourcing your peace to a future that never arrives. You need to look at your life, not as a problem to solve, but as a miracle you've been too distracted to see. And when you do, everything begins to change. Not because the world changes, but because you do. So what's the next step? It's not dramatic. It's not flashy. It's a quiet revolution. It's choosing to stop, breathe, feel, and see. It's choosing to listen to your life instead of trying to outpace it. It's choosing to be where your feet are, right now. Because this moment is not preparation for your life. It is your life. Are you willing to stop chasing tomorrow even for 1 day and finally arrive? Let's go to the final part and find out what happens when you do. You've made it here. And that means something extraordinary is already happening. You're not just watching this content, you're letting it work on you. You're not running from the discomfort. You're walking straight into it. And maybe, for the first time in a very long time, you're beginning to feel the weight of all the moments you've rushed through. The conversations you half-lived. The sunsets you didn't notice. The love you didn't let in because your mind was already somewhere else. This is where the real journey begins, not in some distant future, but right here in the wreckage of what you almost missed. Let's get honest. If you had to relive the last week of your life, not change it, not improve it, just relive it exactly as it was, would it feel meaningful? Or would it feel like a blur? Would you even remember half of it? That's the 6th unspoken sign that you're wasting your life chasing tomorrow. You can't remember what it feels like to truly be where you are. Life becomes a slideshow of unfinished thoughts, half-felt emotions, and background noise. You touch everything lightly, but nothing deeply. And over time, that becomes unbearable. But here's the liberating truth. awareness changes everything. The moment you see that you're not present, you've already taken the first step toward presence. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to escape to a monastery or delete your social media. You just need to return, again and again, to the breath, to the body, to the moment. That's what mindfulness is. Not a technique, a homecoming. And here's where it gets wild. The more present you become, the more you realize that everything you were chasing has been trying to find you. Peace isn't hiding. You've just been moving too fast to let it catch you. Joy isn't rare. You've just been skipping all the quiet places where it waits. Love isn't something you earn. It's something you remember when you finally stop proving and start receiving. This is why the most powerful philosophy is not found in books or lectures. It's found in silence, in breath, in a single moment of total awareness. Kierkegaard said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." But what if we're not even living it forwards? What if we're just surviving it? What if we're so obsessed with getting somewhere that we've forgotten how to be anywhere? You may have noticed by now that time feels strange when you're present. Moments stretch. Colors feel deeper. Sounds feel closer. You become less of a thinker and more of a feeler. Less of a doer and more of a being. And that shift, subtle as it is, changes the entire trajectory of your life. Because when you stop chasing tomorrow, you stop fearing it. You stop needing it to save you. And that's when you become truly free. Let's revisit a question that might shake you. If nothing in your life changed from this moment forward, could you still feel fulfilled? Not happy, not entertained, fulfilled. If your answer is no, then the question becomes, what would have to change inside you to make that possible? Because fulfillment is not a function of your external reality. It's a byproduct of how deeply you are living it. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Confine yourself to the present." He wasn't being poetic, he was offering survival instructions for the soul. Because the future is anxiety. The past is regret. Only the present can hold peace. And if you can't find peace here, you won't find it anywhere. That's the final and most devastating sign. You're waiting for a life that already exists. What does this mean for how we live? It means we stop trying to earn our worth through hustle. It means we stop outsourcing our joy to outcomes. It means we stop postponing intimacy, creativity, rest, and wonder. Because those things aren't luxuries. They are life. And the longer you defer them, the more life slips through your fingers. You don't need to abandon your goals. That's not the point. Goals are beautiful when they arise from presence, not when they're used as a substitute for it. The question is not whether you should plan for the future. The question is, are you using the future to avoid the present? Are your ambitions rooted in love or fear? Are you building a life or running from yourself? The answer lies in your nervous system, in your breath, in the way your body feels when you're doing what you do. Does it feel like expansion or contraction? Does it feel like coming home or escaping? These are not abstract questions. They are diagnostic tools for your soul. And if you listen closely, your body always tells the truth. Let me give you something practical. Every morning, before the world gets loud, ask yourself one question. What would it look like to live one deeply present day? Not a perfect day, not a productive day, in a present day. What would you do differently? What would you notice? Who would you call? What would you stop pretending doesn't matter? And then live that day, even if just for an hour, even if just for a moment. That's how you begin. Not by changing your whole life overnight, but by reclaiming it, moment by moment, breath by breath, until presence becomes your default, until aliveness becomes your baseline, until you no longer need to chase tomorrow because you're finally here. Do you understand what that means? It means you've made it. Not in the way the world defines it, but in the only way that matters. You are awake. You are aware. You are inhabiting your life fully. And from that place, everything changes. Your work becomes sacred. Your relationships deepen. Your pain becomes a teacher. Your joy stops needing a reason. This isn't self-help. This is self-return. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you were before the world told you to chase something else. Before you learned to measure your worth in metrics. Before you started treating life like a ladder. You were whole before you were busy. You were enough before you were successful. You were free before you were afraid. So now, take this with you, not as a concept, but as a path. And the path is simple. One step, one breath, one moment at a time. That's all you ever have. That's all you've ever had. And the miracle is, it's enough. You've just confronted the 5 shocking signs you're wasting your life chasing tomorrow. But more importantly, you've remembered that you don't have to. Not anymore. You can stop. You can breathe. You can come home. And maybe, just maybe, you already have.